but I'm excited.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Would you put $1 into a machine that got you $2? So yeah, right? Like that's really the intent of business, right? Business is a vehicle for you to either put time when you're getting started, you're putting time in, you're getting money back. But then as you grow, you start to put in resources, which can be cash, that allows you to get a return. And that's what advertising can do for you a lot faster. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. What if you could put $1 in and get $4 out? Would you do it? Yes, right? Okay, so here's what I did over the last 20 weeks. So I'm gonna use myself as a case study because I track my numbers very, very well. So in the last 20 weeks, I spent $50,647. It got me 1,805 leads, which generated 165 sales calls for my team, which led to 41 new clients, which resulted in $116,500 cash collected on, that's cash collected on day one. And then $200,667 in contracted value. And contracted value is how much money that their whole contract is worth. So if they paid, let's say day one, they paid $2,500, that would be cash collected. If their contract was $5,000, it would be $5,000 cash collected. So the reason I shared those numbers at the start is because those are the exact numbers that you want to hit. And we'll talk about this in a high ticket funnel. So high ticket funnel, low ticket's a little bit different, but high ticket right off the start. We want to have a 2 times cash collected on day one and a 4 times cash collected on the contracted value. That's a profitable, scalable funnel, which we'll cover more in detail. And I was able to do this without an audience. I know a lot of you guys have an audience. So if you guys have an audience, you're gonna be able to have better returns because you guys can retarget all of your existing customers or people that are already watching your content, engaging in your content, all of that. So what I was able to do was based off of nobody really following me. I have like 7,000 followers, which yeah, that's good. But a lot of those came from ads, came from shout outs. They're not like true raving fans. So if I can do it, you guys can do it too. Before we get into how we do this, I want to talk about an elephant in the room. So Instagram's reach and engagement has dropped a lot over the past 2 years. More stats. So if you guys don't know this, the average reach rate on Instagram is 9.34%. So that means if you have 100 followers and you make a post, only 9 followers or 9 or 10 followers would actually see your content. Okay, and this is statistics as of February 2023. It's dropped 32% year over year for the past 2 years. Engagement rate is of those that actually see your post, only 4.2% on average will engage in that post. And again, that's dropped as well. Not as much as view rate has. So if you guys, anyone else has noticed that, I mean, when I was creating reels last year, I would get 10, 20,000 views. And now my reels are like 1,000, 1,200. I'm like, all right. So again, that means 4.2% of the people who actually see your content will engage with it. Even if you have a big following and you're relying on organic as your only way to grow, it's not as reliable as it used to be. You're just not getting in front of as many eyeballs. So if you're not making offers as often, it's gonna be harder for you to grow. So the statistic that like stood out the most to me, and I shared it earlier, is that year over year, the reach rate has dropped 32% for the past 2 years. And just like we're kind of seeing a similar trend with Instagram that we saw with Facebook, and it's becoming more of a pay-to-play game, which means you need a new strategy that's gonna help you grow predictably. It generates leads and sales calls on a consistent basis. Introducing the free training funnel, okay? So this is what we're gonna be talking about today, of how to create a high converting video training that has text message follow-ups, DM follow-ups, as well as email follow-ups. And we're gonna break through my funnel and also just kind of go through the steps and stages of how to create it and to know, is it successful or not? And I'll go over each of the stages as we keep going on. All right, so here's my goal for this workshop today. I'm gonna give you the 4-step process that I use to building profitable paid ad campaigns, show you how easy it is to create ads. We'll be actually breaking down one of the Strong Coach ads we did. And then I'm gonna convince you that you guys should start running paid ads. Real quick, who am I? I'm Dr. Matt. He gave me a really good intro. I scale coaching businesses. I live here in Austin, Texas, just 30 minutes away. And I've scaled both low and high ticket coaching businesses to 7-figure evaluations or 7-figure run rates. And it didn't start there. I like you said, I was a physical therapist. I graduated from Duke in 2019, and I realized that I didn't want to do it. I realized that I didn't want to be in clinic, and I really like the business and the numbers. And like when I was coming to the mastermind calls, I would just share all my KPIs. I'm like, I had this many clicks, I got this many conversions, and I was just like, this is so cool. And I got so much more passion out of that. What I really wanted to do was like, man, I want my own thing. You know, I want to be able to like have a 6-month muscle gain challenge, do a 1-ton challenge. And I knew Travis Mash, like that was what I really wanted to do during that time period. I didn't have a following. So right out of PT school, I was like, what do I do? I don't have a following. This is what I want to create. What's my game plan? So what I did was, what if I partnered with somebody that already had a following and I could just monetize that following? The original plan was, you know, I'm just going to coach. I'm going to coach the clients. I'm going to create the systems. And as long as you post and send people to all of my beautiful landing pages and everything, we're going to be good. This is kind of what I experienced. It's like, all right, cool. Why aren't they coming in? Like, what's going on? Like, we're getting some email addresses, but no one's like buying, right? It was just slow and inconsistent. Then I read this book. Anybody else read Russell Brunson's like .com secrets? Yeah, expert secrets, traffic secrets, they're all good. So like, I'll just make a funnel, right? If I make a funnel, I can get their email address and they're just gonna want to buy my stuff. This was the outline of my funnel. It's like I had a very basic opt-in page that asked people for their email. And instead of a free training, I would just give them like a freebie, like a free workout guide, a free nutrition guide. It was something that was like very easy to digest. And then I would just email them. For this offer, the one that's up here, this led to a sales call. If you guys have low ticket, you would like lead them to a trial or just straight to purchase. So this is what I built. And I just experienced that nobody would book a call or buy, even though I was doing that approach. So I was like, what am I doing? I'm doing everything that's right. It's in the book. I got an upsell page, I got a downsell page, I got all this stuff, but it wasn't working. Well, then I had to ask myself, like, have I ever purchased from an ebook or like a free PDF guide or like a nutrition guide or an email, like just an email alone? And the answer is no, I have not. Then I was like, okay, well, if I didn't do that, then what have I purchased from? And there's only 2 situations ever that I've actually purchased anything from. The first one being after watching their content or listening to podcasts, like just getting to know them better. And then the second being actually after talking to them, like having a genuine conversation. That one plays a much bigger role for like high ticket, right? Because like low ticket, you guys can't be talking. I mean, you could, but if you're selling like a $20 offer, you're not going to hop on a call or like be DMing and texting somebody who's going to spend $20. So I was like, all right, how can I bring those 2 things together? How can I have them watch enough of my content and then also be able to communicate and talk to them? And if I compare both of those together, what will that do? And then that's what introduced the free training funnel. So the free training funnel here, the biggest difference was that instead of giving like a free PDF or a free guide or any of that stuff, if I created a 10 to 20 minute video that taught them my 3 to 5 step process for how I help people, it was a lot easier of a sell because they're like, oh, I understand the methodology. I know how this works. Okay, cool. Versus like, here's free workouts. I'm like, okay, cool. I may have got a lot of email addresses, a lot of leads, but those people weren't in a buying decision and they didn't understand like my methodology. Yeah, so my training provided a ton of value. And then the second step to this was I automated texts, emails, and DMs. You can do all 3 of them for a campaign. Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna teach you guys how to do here in the next like 45 minutes. So we'll go over that entire funnel. So we'll go through each of those phases of it so you guys know how to create it, where to get started with it. And then by the end of this, you can decide, do I want to run traffic and ads to this, or can I just run my existing email list, my existing subscribers through this? And I'll tell you by the end of it what the conversion rate should be if you put 100 people through the funnel. Step 1 out of the 4 steps is going to be to create the high value training resource. Step number 2 is going to be building the basic funnel pages. I'll show you how to do that. Step 3 is going to be using systems to automate starting conversations, SMS, DMs, and emails. And then step 4 is to run simple ads to what you just created in steps 1 through 3. So I wanted to cover that because some of you guys may be like, I don't want to run ads yet, but you can still get a ton of value out of steps 1, 2, and 3. And if you follow just that, you'll get a return on what you guys paid for just to be here. I guarantee you that. Step one is going to be making the high value training video. When you craft the free training, what works really well is to just think to yourself, what is the number one problem that I actively help people solve? Is it weight loss? Do I help people who've got anxiety? You got to be clear on like what is the before state and what am I actually transitioning them out of? The free training should help them discover a solution to that problem. The title or the headline of that before and after is the most important part, because if that's aligned with what your offer is, it's a lot easier to sell. And that's why I failed so much with like the free PDF guides, the nutrition guides, is that anybody could want like, here's a healthy breakfast recipe, but not everyone wanted to lose 20 pounds in a certain time period. So if I could make my free training very specific to the offer that I have, it's in much more alignment with the person who actually opted into this free training that wants to learn how to lose 20 pounds is also the same type of person that wants to spend money potentially to lose 20 pounds, because my offer and my lead magnet or free training are very closely related. The closer they are related, the easier it's going to be for you to get a sale. Here's just some examples. These are some that I've liked. Some of them I wrote, some of them I found. But how busy moms are losing 10 pounds in 90 days without cutting carbs. So that could be a title of your free training, assuming that your offer and the primary people you solve are busy moms that want to lose 10 pounds without what they don't want to do. Here's another one that's more mindset driven. Entrepreneurs 10x your productivity and eliminate overwhelm in less than 10 minutes a day. Ooh, tell me more. I'm interested, right? There's a time component to that. There's a clear before and after state that would align with that person's offer. And then the last one, this one's one of mine. How to get 10 clients in 30 days to make an extra $10,000 a month. I'm split testing it, but that's my current training headline. I'll rewind, and the most important part is the headline. That's why I said, I'm split testing it, because if I can change my headline just a little bit, it can almost double your conversions. The headline is essentially a hook, right? So the hook of your content, it's got to be good for them to consume the rest of it. The subject line of your email, same thing. It's got to be aligned. So even in your video training, like you should spend, I think it's like a famous copywriter said that like for every dollar that you spend on your marketing, think of like 80 cents should go to the headline. 80 cents of the dollar. So almost 80% of the message needs to go around the headline. So once you've got a really strong headline, then you can create an outline for the rest of the content you want to film. So here are going to be the main sections that you want to include in your video training. Number one is going to be a hook or a problem. So this can be, again, a 10 and 20 minute training. The hook is going to be about 1 to 2 minutes, right? So it's going to be talking about the problem, talking about what they want, kind of teasing at a solution.
Does the hook include like the target audience?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you had talked about that in the beginning. Hey, thank you so much for opting in to this training. If you're blank and you're dealing with blank, blank, and blank, watch to the end of this training so that you have X, Y, and Z. So it could be 30 seconds, but 30 seconds to 2 minutes for like a 10-minute training, just to hook their attention, being like, yes, this is for me. And some people in the hook will even say, if this is not you, leave. Like, don't watch this training, you know? Okay, so that's part one. Part two is the origin story. So how do you relate to your ideal client? If you help busy moms lose 10 pounds, it's best if you had an experience of being a busy mom at one time. Doesn't look like most of you guys are, but if you were. But ideally, your origin story does align with your ideal client's story too. Okay, so that takes like, if that's a 10-minute training, that might be 20% of it. Then the next part is just going to be outlining what are the 3 to 5 steps that somebody needs to take to eliminate the problem. And we're going to be covering just like the steps. So like, let's say for an example, you work with someone who is trying to lose weight. Step one could be, hey, step one, you need a personalized assessment to figure out what X, Y, and Z is. The step is the what. You need to do this, but you're not telling them, here's how to do a personal assessment. You're going to do this, 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 and this. Like that's too much for this. We need to outline the steps that they need to take, but we're not going to necessarily tell them how to do it. The how is where our support comes in. Yeah, so after we finished all of those, so same thing, sharing the what, I'm going to come back to my the weight loss example. let's say the first thing that you're going to talk about is you need a personalized assessment. Okay, great. Step number 2, now you need to find the amount of calories you need to consume to hit your goal. Okay, now after you've done that, you then need to have a custom workout plan designed for you. And they're like, holy cow, well, I need all those things, but how do I can't make them myself. Okay, cool. And then there's the opportunity for you to position a call. And that's the last part of it. So those are the main parts. And you also have some like testimonials like interspersed inside there. But the big components is sharing the steps. Like as coaches, we have the tendency to want to teach, right? It's like, here's how to do this thing. Let me teach you the exact steps. But just showing people the steps they have to take is very beneficial for them. Like they're actually getting a lot of value out of just seeing the steps. They don't have to see the how. Just by seeing the steps that they're going to take. I've had people email me, be like, oh my gosh, that training has transformed like how I look at business. I'm like, wow, that's great. That was a free training, you know? And it's not like I'm giving everything away. Because if I was to give everything away, it would take a lot longer than 10, 20 minutes. I would need like an ebook, or I would need like, I don't know, hours to like really walk through all of it, which is why, you know, my course content for like my paid offer is probably like 10 hours plus of like content, right? But I can't condense that into a 10-minute training, right? But I can share the stages of like, all right, you need to do this, this, and this. And once you do this, you'll have this outcome. Recording tips, you can make them into slides just like how I've had here. I did this same presentation and I just did it live. You can also do like a simple Loom video that's really basic. Like I've had some people have like a Loom and Google Doc video. Have you done a Google Doc yet? Like just like a, yeah, like your invitation you had for this event, you could do the same thing. I've seen some people that have like a Google Doc that says outlines the steps they need to have, and they have a little Loom video in the corner walking through it. It doesn't have to have like high production value or anything like that. And the cool part is that like you can go from idea to filming this on a very low budget, actually like no money at all, just your computer in like a weekend. And yeah, low production value, I see just to perform better. You can rip it out, and if it does really well, you can decide I want to get more higher production value in the future, but honestly, I don't think it's needed. Cool. So once they've consumed their training, what you want them to think after is, holy cow, what is it? Wow, this coach is great. I can see this framework working for me, and I want their help to speed up the process. They see the framework. They see the 3 to 5 big stages and steps they have to go through, and that's what they want to do. And they don't know how to do it, but they're like, yeah, I want to do that. This person has like shown me a roadmap of how I make this transformation. I now have trust in them and their process. I'm curious. Now I want to book a call. If you're not doing, if you have a low ticket offer, you would either start a trial or you guys could go straight from here to the sale. Okay, so that's step 1. The big takeaways I want you guys to take from that is like free trainings perform better than easy, cheap lead magnets. They just do because they provide more value. They can get some face time. They can feel your energy. You show them your roadmap and process for how you do things. They convert much higher than like a freebie would go. All right, step 2, how to create the funnel pages. You don't need to be an expert to do this, and a lot of this stuff is like, you'll probably do the writing of it, but you could pay a graphic designer like 15 bucks maybe to just make it pretty. There's only really 3 pages that you need to have for this, and they're very simple to build. I'm gonna show you what's necessary, and we're gonna cut like a lot of the unnecessary stuff out of it. So you need an opt-in page. This is gonna ask for phone number and email. You'll need a free training page that's just gonna house the free training, the video. And then if you guys are doing high ticket, you'd have a sales call page. If you guys were doing like low ticket, you send them straight to a checkout. Straight to checkout. That's it, 3 pages. So let's look at mine. Okay, so I'm gonna go over mine because it's so simple, and the reason I like it so much is it's simple. Right now, when I ask for phone number and email, I convert at 20%. If I ask for phone, just email alone, it's at 25%, which is good. I'm testing some headlines and stuff to see if I can improve it, but like the gold standard is like 20, 25%. But look how basic it is. It's just got a headline, right? So headline, this is how I help the clients. I help my coaching clients get more clients. So that's my headline. Here's how to get 10 new clients a month to make an extra $10,000 a month. That's what everybody wants when they come to me. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna make my free training very congruent with my offer. At the top, it calls out my avatar. So brand new training for online fitness, nutrition, and health coaches reveals how I help people. And then I add a little GIF here. The GIF increases the click-through rate because they're like, oh, this is a video. And if it's on your phone, if you guys want to like open up your phone, you can. That's just mattshiver.com/free training. But the video is straight in the middle of the phone. So they oftentimes will just be like, oh, it's a video. Click. And if they click it, my opt-in pops up. So that's the first fold up the top. So all it is headline, video, call to action button. It's like not much, right? Because again, 80% of our dollar is going to go on the headline. So I'm just going to put the headline up there. It's like, do they want it? Yes or no? And then for some people, that might be enough. For me, I had a 15% conversion, and I was like, maybe they need a little bit more trust, because it was like I was doing a lot of Facebook ads to people who didn't know, like, and trust me. So just by adding like a headshot of me, credentials, and like 5 things that they were going to learn, it increased my rates by another 5%. So I was like, all right, good. I'm not touching this page except for the headlines.
What platforms?
I use Go High Level. Go High Level. You can use it on any platform. I like Go High Level the most because I can automate DMs, emails, and texts all in one campaign. Or any questions about the opt-in page before I go to the next page?
You said something about a difference between 20 or 25% with email capture.
Yeah, about every time you add a capture field, so like I asked for phone number, it'll drop the conversions by about 5 to 10%.
People don't want to give their phone number.
Yeah, it's just another box. It's another thing for work. Like, some people just have email. They don't even have first name. But then all of their emails, they can't personalize the first name. So they're like, hey, this is what we're doing this week, or do you like this? Like, instead of like, hey, Mark, you know? So I like that. I like that personalization, so I still ask for it. And then one thing I do want to mention that I'm actually testing now, as of last week, I don't know if anybody has dealt with the new regulation, the Go High Level, yeah. So now you have to add a checkmark box for asking for phone number. It hasn't dropped my conversions that much, but this is something that we're all experiencing now. So I add a little incentive. I was like, make sure this is right. I'm gonna send you more free shit. So testing.
Quick question. You said the conversion for the opt-in went down. What about contract sales?
Not yet, because that A2P change just happened. I just started split testing it. But even for the number of calls that I was getting, like, the less information that I ask, the lower quality person is going to come in. So my like lead to call ratio for just for email, it was only a week, so I can't give too much, but it was a lot lower than when I was doing text messages, because a lot of my leads, about like 60 to 70% of my leads book from text messages, which I will cover. We're going to talk more about that, but they book from text messages. So by me thinking, oh, they're not going to opt in, let's not use it, like my call volume this week dropped a lot. So I was like, I'm happy to pay more for a lead that it's going to give me their phone number that I can contact, but still testing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. So you tested, you're using like the pop-up feature. You use Go High Level as well. You tested it. You just have the form itself embedded.
Inform? Yeah, I did when I first ran this, and this was better.
Better.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because that was one way we worked around the checkbox for that new update, is we had a little bit of text slightly above the form in and of itself, so there's still language saying, you can still opt out at any time, but they didn't have to click
the thing. Yeah.
So I just wasn't sure if there was but if that converts better, then
yeah, it works better for me. And I've tried this page in green. I've tried this page with red. Red did better than green.
Okay.
So everyone's different though. So like, if you have certain brand colors, like you can play them, but like red's done the best for me. But yeah, you can see it, very simple page. Just like that's the key. Like I don't like the long form stuff. Like some people like that, but it's a free training. I'm not asking for them to buy anything. Now this is the video page that I use. I've tested with having like testimonials there versus not. It didn't make a big difference. It was kind of distracting on the page because then it was a slower load time. So I made it be just the video, and that's working really well. So the stats and stuff I showed you before, that's how I currently have it structured. Is I probably would test a delayed like pop-up box to not where they see it immediately. Like, because I want them to still like, it's a free training. I want them to actually watch it or like start watching it so that they don't see buy right now. And they're like, oh, he just wants me to buy something. So you can have a delay for things like that to pop up. I would probably, you don't necessarily need to do that here because I'm still saying, hey, there's a free demo. I'm like, okay. But if it's like buy, I probably would have like a small, like maybe minute time delay for it to pop up, just so they're like, oh, it's a free video. But then oh, he does want me to buy something. Okay, cool. Some people have like the whole thing delay until they like drop it at the end. But with a low ticket, I would want to have it sooner than later, but maybe not like immediate, so that they do start watching the video. Make sense?
Yeah. Well, I wonder if you could have people go through like a slideshow, or like you take them through a process that, and then the buy button would also show up like at the end of the call.
You can do that. I would test it all of it. Like test it. You can even test it with just because with a lot of the software, it's as simple as like duplicate, control page, cool. What do I want to change? One thing. We'll just change like one thing at a time. Okay, and then last but not least, this is a schedule page. It's very simple. There's nothing else here. I haven't tested it with testimonials on this page, so that could be something to test. But once they opt in for that free training, they're gonna get like testimonials and like, go watch the training, testimonial, go watch the training, testimonial. Like there's a lot of like that stuff that's stripped into the email sequence once they do like opt in. But as you see, I try to keep it really simple. Like the less is more when it comes to this stuff. And if you guys were doing low ticket, this would be your checkout page for the low ticket. I wouldn't put another video there. They've already watched a video. It would just be very, very basic. Either start a trial or like buy right now. Anything that's over 1,000 is when you probably have a phone call, typically. If it's under that, like 997 or below, I would do a checkout page.
Is that for retreats too? If you're doing over $1,000 for retreats.
I probably would have them text me. It depends on how intimate the retreat is.
Okay.
How big is the retreat?
We booked out. We had 13.
Did they buy on the spot, or did they message you or DM you?
Yeah. Emailed like interested participants and like, hey, if you want to hear more, is there anything that would fit for coming here? And then we sent them one more thing, and then we sent them a description and said, do you want to sign up? Just reply with yes. We got like most of our sign-ups out. Yeah,
I probably would I would send it to his checkout, and then like on the checkout, probably underneath, like, do you want to schedule a call to see if it's the right fit for you? To give an option, but I don't think I'd mandatorily make them call me. But I think I would still send a campaign or two, or an email or two, or a text or two. Hey, not sure if this is right for you? Here, hop on a quick call with us. We'll answer any questions you got. So it gives them the option of doing it. But I wouldn't make them do it if you've already had success doing it without. All right. Okay, one more.
Are you having them fill out in the application before getting on call?
On that form, there's questions.
Yeah, you're using a Calendly.
Here, you can actually go to it. This one's it's high level, but yeah, there's a few qualifying questions on it. So there's the application that's in there. Do you have any clients? How many do you have? What's your price point? What prompted you? And then the last one is like a financial qualifier. If you qualify to work with us and we were able to guarantee, we don't have a guarantee, but it's like, if we were, what would you be comfortable to invest? And then click it. 0, I'm just looking. Then they get a text message right after. Hey, I saw you filmed that you're just looking, or are you looking for support now? And if not, we'll cancel their call.
So you have like essentially a different text message based upon the response there?
Just one workflow, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that one's like, if they answered this, then that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Step 1, make the training, 3 to 5 steps covering the what of how I do things. Not going too deep into how. Painting the roadmap. Step 2, we make a really basic funnel. Rules of thumb for that funnel is we should have at least a 20% opt-in rate, keeping it at 1 to 2 folds. So that was just like you saw there's a video and the button, and underneath was like a little bit more about me. But it was 2 folds, right? I tested it with 1 fold first, 2 folds did better for me. 1 to 2 folds, adding the GIF that looks like a video increases conversion rates. I don't have data to show before and after, but I had like my first, I'd have to look for it, but the first one was just a headline, a button. It was like, do you want this button here? And then when I added the GIF, it added, I want to say at least 5%, but I have to look at the data for that. And then pop-ups work better for me than forums. And then red led to higher conversions. I'd also tried green and I think orange as well. Video page, just have the video there. I don't like testimonials. I think it's just distracting. It's kind of like more like buy my stuff versus like I'm trying to provide value first. And then you can have the call to action to book, apply, or if it's low ticket, go ahead and just like purchase right now. All right, now step 3 is going to be systems to automate conversations. My favorite one is high level. We'll kind of talk about, I'm sure you guys probably have questions around that. We'll talk about that, but I'll also just talk about the framework that you can use regardless of what software system you use.
I was talking to an automation guy the other day. He was saying high level does include 13 day. I go high level for, I'll give you a complicated answer. I still use ActiveCampaign. I like it, but it definitely high level has gotten better. You needed some tinkering to like set up the email to come from your Mailgun accounts. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
It's better, but you have to kind of like, I wouldn't use Lead Connector's email because Lead Connector's email shares with all high level people, there's a lot of high-level people that would just like upload lists and spam them. So like lead connectors, email deliverability is not good, but if you put yours inside of it, it can, but you just need probably some tech set up for that. High level is very affordable for like all the features that it's got. So I want to quick reminder and recall. So like, why are we doing the free training funnel? The two biggest reasons is that if someone loves your training, they like spend time with you, they like your energy, and they have a conversation with you, it's gonna be a lot easier for you guys to make sales. Especially high ticket. Low ticket at the bottom doesn't matter as much. So I say the low ticket, it's more of like how many touch points can I hit them with? Can I still like send the free training as a text message? Can I send it via email? Can I send it via DMs? You don't necessarily need to be responsive as you would for high ticket, but you can still hit on different platforms with different offers and stuff like that. And what I tested is like the moment we started just doing text messages, like it doubled the amount of sales we had like really fast, because and the whole goal of the text messages. So how I delivered the text messages. Now this does change a little bit with the A2P compliance stuff. So typically what I did beforehand, and I still do this, I just do it in a different way, is the first message that I'll send now that there's a new compliance thing, I'll send a link to the training. Because in that there also has to be like text stop and like all the stuff to like tell them the options. But at the bottom of that first message, I'll say, hey, I'm gonna shoot you a message when I'm back online or when I'm available. So then 5 minutes later, during business hours, this message is automated. It says, hey, first name, this is Dr. Matt. I just saw you checked out my training. Were you able to access it? This is really for high ticket. I wouldn't say this is gonna be for low ticket. For low ticket, you would send them a link to the training, and then you probably ping them later, like a few minutes later, or probably a little bit later, and just be like, hey, don't know if you watched till the end, but I talked about this really cool offer. If you haven't seen it, go watch the training. Probably another email would go out or another text message would go out an hour or two after. Hey, here's the link to that actual offer. So it's a little bit different for the low ticket, but it's still the same type of funnel. It's just the automations are different. So the whole goal for this like first series here is just to get the person to respond. Hey, were you able to access it? If they respond, you can have a virtual assistant or yourself, depending on how big your team is, respond and book the call. If they don't respond, I have another 2 to 3 messages that essentially say the same thing above in a different way. Hey, just checking back in. Wanted to make sure that that got sent to you. Can you just shoot me a yes back? Cool. But anything that like gets a foot in the door for them to start a conversation, then the next message will be like, awesome. So are you a coach or are you looking to get started? Awesome. What do you want to do? And then like we'll kind of lead into, hey, we'll hop on a quick call. I can see if we can chat or see if we can help and point you in the right direction or two. And then that gets them into the sales process.
Do you go through what you do for a low ticket offer for this?
Yeah, I would do, first one would be, hey, first name, this is so-and-so. Actually, sorry, that would be the second message because of the new compliance thing. So immediately after, once they requested the free training, I would send a message, be like, hey, so-and-so, this is blank from blank. Thanks for requesting my free training. Here's the link.
That's right when they opt in.
Right when they opt in, and then probably another, based on how long your free training is, maybe another like 20 to 30 minutes after, another text message being like, hey, not sure if you had the chance to watch it yet, but there's a really cool opportunity in there at the end that I want you to go check out. And then I would have another link there to direct them back to the free training.
Or are you also sending this via email as well?
Yeah. But it's just like more touch points, right? And someone will say stop, that's okay. But I would do at least 2 in like the emails that I have. I'll have, go ahead and the next one talks about email. So after that, at the same time, we're sending them about for the next 10 days. The first 3 days is encouraging them to watch the training, because if they watch the training, they're going to see the process. And I don't want to start to just like transitioning to the pitch and like go buy my stuff, buy until they've gotten value. So that's why even the second text that you'd send out would still be enticing them to watch the video. And I probably would do one more, if it was a low ticket, I'd still probably do one more text that would be like, hey, go check out this free training. In the training, I cover X, Y, and Z without X, Y, and Z. And then they'd hopefully watch it. And after that like 2 to 3 day mark is then we start to transition to whatever your next offer is. So for me, it's like, I'll send 2 or 3 emails about a call. Hey, I saw that you just checked this out. I like to offer all of my email subscribers a phone call. If you're interested in taking this up, it's a 15-minute call. We won't sell you on the call. We just want to see if we can help and point you in the right direction. So that's like, it's a soft pitch to a call. Because if they watch the training, there's a hard pitch at the end to book a call that's like more value driven of what they would get. But if it's in an email and they haven't checked out my training, I want like a softer pitch to a call. After I do that for like two or 3 days, book a call, I'll then provide more free stuff. Like, hey, here's this awesome training that I also put together. Hey, here's all the PDFs and stuff that like you guys probably might have used before to try to get as lead magnets. That's when you can use those stuff, because it's just like, oh, this is a super helpful tool, thank you. It's not going to be the meat that's going to like get them latched on and be like, oh man, this process is so good. So the first day or two, probably 2 days, push and watch the training. After 2 or 3 days, you could either push them to a sales page with like a limited time sale, or you could add bonuses that would create some sort of like urgency to want to take action on that. Also, free trials worked really well if they put a credit card in. Okay, so how do you know if the training worked? Essentially, this is for high ticket / low ticket. 10% of the people that watch the training should either book a call or they should purchase. Now, the low ticket, 10% is kind of, it's going to differ because it's like different price points. Is there a trial? So I would take that with like a grain of salt for sure for the 10%, but the conversion, typically what we'll see with the high ticket space is 5% will do it by themselves. They'll like watch the training and be like, oh, got to do it. And then the other 5%, which is where I share, like we doubled our calls because we got another 5% that came in from text or email follow-ups. And this is on the front end too. So like we were talking, Mike's been doing this stuff for how many years? Like decades. So like of the initial leads, if you get 10% that book a call or start a trial, you may only get like 2 to 3% that will actually purchase. Like out of the numbers that I showed you earlier, I think it was 2 to 3% of the leads actually purchased for me to generate that amount of cash, which is great. But that's now 98% that I get to now nurture. And who knows, in like 5-10 years, that's gonna pay off at some point. I'm like, oh, I don't have to spend any more money on ads. Like these people are just gonna start like wanting to buy. Maybe they pirated something, like they're gonna want to get back, you know? There's a lot that goes into low ticket, where high ticket's a lot easier to scale because like you have more consistent numbers. So even then, like if you just have low ticket, I would highly suggest having a high ticket too, to like really level out your cash flow. Because if you have an email list, even of like 1,000 or a following of like 1,000, 2,000 people, like there's somebody in there that's gonna be willing to pay a high ticket dollar amount, and that can like allow you to build an email list, build a following with ads, and the ads are paid for. So if you're high ticket and your conversion rate is less than 10% with both email, text message follow-up, and just the video itself, all that tells us is we just need to make a new video. It's better. Do we need to make the headline better? Is it the content that's better? What do we need to do to make it better? And honestly, the more congruent, again, it can be back to with your offer. So if you help women lose 10 pounds, the free training is here's how you can lose 10 pounds, or here's how I lost 10 pounds, or here's how my client lost 10 pounds. That's going to be more congruent, and you'll get more people to book a call with you if you use that approach. All right, those are the 3 steps so far. So first thing we talked about, we're going to make a free training, 3 to 5 steps. Here's how, here's the what, the roadmap of how to get there. We then create a very, very basic funnel, single 1 to 2-fold page, a video, and a schedule or buy page. And then the last part is we use systems to automate follow-up. I didn't talk about DMs in there. So if you guys do use DMs in addition to that, the conversation needs to be started in DMs first. So another thing you could play if you just ever decided to do that could be like, hey, comment this below and I'll send you the training. You would still send them the link to the training, so then they could still build an email list from that. And you can use like mini chat automations to do that too. Yeah, Kevin Torres does that pretty regularly. He has like once or twice a month. He'll do a DM me there, or just comment this below, and I'll DM this thing to you. And he'll get like, he's gotten like 700 comments before, and all of them would get the link to his freebie, and his email list would grow by like 500 in a week. And it was like, wow, we just added 500 people, and a certain percentage of them would end up applying and booking and all that stuff. He's still only organic. Wow. His price point's only at 1,000 though, so it's hard for him to scale because yeah, it's kind of at that awkward range, you know. So step 4 is optional. If you guys just have those first 3 steps and you have a big audience, you can just keep sending people there. That could be your link in bio. Yeah, you can just start promoting it on your stories. I mean, if you guys listen to Barbell Shrugged, like they would promote the snatch mistakes. It was like the 3 snatch mistakes, but it was like you guys had a core foundational lead magnet that they would just keep promoting over and over. And then once you got in there, it was like, hey, check out our podcast, check out all these other things of value, keep watching our stuff because they're going to be nurtured by us and want to buy our stuff. But they didn't necessarily, I mean, I know you guys had other opt-ins and free trainings, but that was like the core lead magnet that I remember you guys promoting really heavily.
5 snatch mistakes and the 5 deadlift mistakes were our best converting lead magnets. I mean, we just threw that up on Facebook ads and just anytime we tried to do anything that was not mistakes related.
It's interesting, yeah.
In performance work, people love avoiding mistakes, especially on a movement that is associated with fucking yourself. It's like, oh, I don't deadlift sound dangerous, right? It's got the word deadlift. Like maybe I should not make a mistake here. So just a note. I think 5 mistakes. That's been helpful.
I've got an ad I'm testing or I'm going to be testing with that hook too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you can make posts, stories on all platforms. You can change your link in bio to have that your core, funnel or lead magnet. But it's nice if you can find one, and that's like the one thing that you promote. Then it becomes a lot easier. How do I grow my business? I need how many people do I need to go through this to get 10% on the other side to have my calendars full if I'm doing high ticket, or if it's low ticket, I need to find out what my video conversion rate is. What percentage of people will watch this and purchase? Okay, can I optimize that by changing the video, or do I need to change the headline? Like it kind of becomes this like a little bit of like math and just like looking at numbers. But once you crack the code, it's just like, all right, all I need to do now is just get more traffic just to watch this one thing. And if I do that, then I don't have to make it very complex. Like I don't have to worry about live webinar, challenge, like all those are great. But if I've got one core thing that's just continuing to build my business, my number one goal is how can I get this in front of more people? Can I do a shout out on another influencer's page that's pushing to this free training? Can I have another influencer like email it to their list? Like how can I start getting like creative with this thing and just driving people to the free training?
That dongle is like 8 years old. The television and the full plunges are on the same.
Oh.
And it's over 100 degrees outside, so fight.
Okay, 4 ways to advertise. You've got Instagram, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, paid shout outs and collaborations, so like using other people's lists, and you can even have clients post it for you. And then a big question is like, do paid ads work? And a lot of times people have had negative experiences with it, and it's not the ad platform's fault. Oftentimes it's just your messaging fault. You're just not good at messaging towards a cold traffic, or you're not really sure what the problems that people are actually have is, and you've just done a good job of creating a community of posting regularly and having people like you, and that's not necessarily scalable outside of you. You have to learn how to become a good marketer and like good at creating copy, which is just different. You're like, I have a big following, I should be able to just advertise and people just come to me. It's like, no, cold traffic and people who don't know, like, and trust you, you have to get very simple with your language. It has to be so simple. Here's how to do this thing. Do you want to do this thing? Cool, watch this free training, learn how to do this thing. Like it can't be complex at all. And if we think of like Facebook itself knows everything about you. It knows that you're your friend, it knows your followers, it knows every post you like, it knows every ad you like, it knows every page you visit. It even knows like if you stopped scrolling to look at something and keep scrolling. Like it's got a lot of data points on you. It's scary. But you can also use it to grow your business. And 17% of all websites on the internet, I'm actually surprised, I think like way more, have like pixels installed on them. So websites use that to track, to like connect with Facebook so that they can retarget. So 17% of all of websites on the internet have tracking code on them. So if you go to Rogue, Facebook knows. If you go to probably Paul Check's website, like it probably knows, right? So it's got it all over the place, especially in online businesses. And then YouTube is owned by Google, and Google knows everything. Google sees every email you send if you have Gmail, okay? It knows every location you've gone to if you use Google Maps. It knows every question that you have. So it knows what you don't know, because you go to Google to like type in, how do I do this? Is this pimple like normal? You know what I mean? Like it knows like everything about you. And then it also knows every search you make on YouTube. So if you put the message in front of the right people that's simple enough you're going to attract them. But it's got millions of people that you can put a message in front of. You just have to be good at conveying, do you want this thing? Cool. Watch this thing to learn this thing. Simplicity, like copywriting is like, can I make this at a 4th grade reading level or less? If it's more than that, you lost anybody else who doesn't already know, like, and trust you. And the platforms are also like on your side because they get paid as you spend more money. If you spend more money and you get results, you're going to spend more money to keep getting results, and they get paid for it. So they're on your side. You just have to have a good enough message to give to them. And you can get started as little as like 20 bucks a day, and you'll get getting leads and like calls immediately. It's just like turning a faucet on. So here's just some like rules of thumb when you're starting to run paid ads. And this differs between offers, but I'd say for most B2C offers, like opt-ins, there should be 10 bucks or less. So B2C would be like a coaching offer to an individual. Business coaching, like my leads are closer to $25, but that's because I have a smaller pool size of coaches who are a group of professionals, right? So it's a lot smaller. If my demographic was, busy moms or general population people that want to lose weight, improve strength, improve their mindset, like it's going to be a lot. Your addressable market size is way bigger. So you should be looking at close to $10 per opt-in. Booked calls, if you have a high ticket funnel, ideally for B2C is around $150 or less. For me, B2B is anywhere from $250 to $350 is pretty normal for a B2B offer. And then if you're doing high ticket, this is what I'm finding standard right now is that it should cost you around $500 to $750 or $500 to $1,000 to acquire a high ticket client in the B2C space. If you're under that, like I've seen some people be at like $250, that's awesome. The big goal here is that we want like whatever it costs us to acquire a new client, we need to collect that or more. Ideally, we collect 2 times that amount. So if it costs us $1,000, we should be collecting $2,000 on day 1. That's like the good rule of thumb for you to be profitable, to be able to keep scaling. Yeah, so I kind of shared that above. Yep. So 2 times return on cash collected on the front is good. And then anywhere from 4 to 6 times contracted is ideal. So like mine was 4, so mine's actually on the lower end, but it's because my program's priced at $5K and it's still going to increase in price. So like I see that increasing with time, but I'm happy with the 2 times on day 1 and 4 times contracted. These are just good rules of thumb to know. More so high ticket space. If you're low ticket, it's typically the opposite. You end up losing money or breaking even on that first month so that you can make money on the back end. And that's where like a lot of people will have a low ticket and a high ticket offer combined together because they might make 0.5, that's pretty common. So let's say you spend $1,000, you get $500 month 1 from low ticket. Well, you know that some of them will ascend to your high ticket offer to where you'll get a 4 to 7 times on the end. Advertising low ticket's a lot harder. It's just a lot harder. So like, it's not like this, like with low ticket. You just have to play the long game. I'm gonna build a huge email list. I'm gonna provide them with so much value. And I want, like I said, 2 to 10% or so to convert. 10% would be crazy, but like 2 to 5% to convert. But really it's a long-term play with low ticket. That's where it's like, you see a lot of like high ticket businesses, they'll scale overnight. They're like, oh yeah, we went to 7 figures year 1. You're like, how? It's because they have the numbers and they can play this type of marketing that allows for it, where the low ticket just takes more time.
Where in this would you fit like upsells? So like taking someone from a low to a mid or like a low to a high ticket, where would that fit in?
It depends on the business, because like you could do a low ticket as your lead magnet too. Like you could be like, hey, here's a $47 offer if you have like a 5K or above offer. It's like, hey, here's this $47 workout guide that will help you go from here to here in replacement of the free training. But you have to be really good at copy to sell anything that costs anything. Like the moment you go from free to anything, you can't use a 1-page button anymore. You have to have a full sales page of copy that overcomes all the objections. Because on a phone call, I can overcome all of your objections. And if you guys do make social media posts, you can make ads. And I'm gonna encourage you guys all to do it, even if it's just retargeting your subscribers, your followers, just to get to the free training. Because all they're gonna see from the front end is not buy. They're gonna see free training, free training, free training. They're like, wow, they're giving a lot. Snatch mistakes, that sounds awesome. I want that. You know what I mean? Like I heard it on every podcast. Yes, it led to a sales funnel, but like I didn't know that as a consumer. I was like, you just giving away something for free. Thanks, man. So like you can run basic retargeting for like 10 to 20 bucks and you'll be getting new leads every single day and they're gonna be very low cost. So if you start with anything, you can just do 20 bucks, 10, 20 bucks a day, just retargeting to help you build an email list. Even if you have a low ticket offer, it's gonna pay dividends in the future. So we'll go over this quick. We had a lot of questions, so I know energy might be a little low, but I wanna go over an example of a basic ad. This is gonna be in Facebook, and we're gonna use Mike as an example. So there's really only a few things like buttons you have to push for Facebook. It's very simple. Actually, where's everyone's audiences right now? I know you're on Instagram. Most people Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Okay, YouTube's all those three. This one's just, I find Facebook's the easiest to run ads on. Google is a little bit more complicated, but Facebook is typically where most people start because it's just simpler. But there's really only a few components. You've got an image or a video. We've got some text, which is what you guys have put in your captions already, right? And then you've got a headline, which is just like your call to action. So this one is get the 250K remote blueprint that's 5x my income for free, right? So it's just the call to action. Here, go download this thing. Well, that's really all it is. You guys make posts like this all the time. So all we're gonna do for the first one, we're just gonna cover is get something that stops the scroll. Things that work really well for this one is like you holding a resource. So like this one of Mike, it's like, whoa, what's he holding? What is that? Right? That does well because it's just like, it just draws the eye into like whatever he's holding or celebrating. It could be a video that's just got a normal like Instagram video. I know you guys have some videos for like a lot of your ads that are just strong hook. And then you'll see some people who have like a banner at top of the video too that says like, you know, free training or how I went from here to here. You can experiment with those. But honestly, the easiest thing to get started is to create content like you already create. And you just want to make it stop someone's scroll doesn't just know like and trust you. Including you inside of it makes a big difference. And then making it look native to the platform. So I have no doubt you guys can do that because you guys are all content creators. If you guys have an audience already. So all we have to do is just create a piece of content or a post that drives people to this free resource that we created. Next part is going to be the text. Text is super basic. You guys probably use this in most of your content already. Hook, story, call to action. The story works really well because if you can connect it to your audience of like where you were when you started, it does most of the selling for you. All right, we'll use this. I think Nico wrote this. Coach, you don't need a website. There, I said it. So this was like somebody who's scrolling on Instagram being like, I gotta get a website before I start my coaching business. And this hook worked really well for us. Coach, you don't need a website. There, I said it. Stop wasting your time on things that don't matter. That's the reason your business is not growing. So that's kind of all 4 lines of hook. The reason you're burnout, stressed, and anxious. How do I know? Firstly, because I made the same exact mistake close to a decade ago. Okay, so now we're gonna relate to them. I spent tens of thousands of dollars of my own money and years of my life doing things that didn't matter before learning the secrets. Secrets are cool, right? To growing my coaching business. Secondly, I've been fortunate enough to support hundreds of coaches build 6- and 7-figure businesses that allow them to work from anywhere in the world. I found that most coaches are doing busy work, trying everything and modeling what they think is working from other coaches. The solution isn't complex, sexy, or even a secret. In fact, it's very simple. And I've outlined exactly what you need to do to grow to a 7-figure coaching business in this free remote coaching blueprint training. Stop making the same mistakes and start doing the work that drives growth, evolution, and results inside your coaching business here. Click Instagram Direct. We should probably wouldn't do that anymore, but this is a DM ad, and that's like the little thing that pops up next to it. It did it at the point. So it was like, click Instagram Direct, and I'll send this training to you to start building your business today. And then they would click it. But as you can see, there's a hook with like the first line to 4 lines. Stop doing this. That's the reason you're not growing. You're like, yeah, that's me. That's me. Here, I'm gonna connect with you. You know, I've spent a lot of money and lost a lot of money. And he's building some anticipation. There's some like secrecy here of like, I've outlined exactly what you need to do. It's not, hey, here are the things you have to do. It's like, I've outlined how to do it with a little bit of curiosity in there of like, oh, I wanna know. And then the call to action to book But the whole purpose of that last section of stage 4 is just like, it doesn't have to be complex. If you can have a good hook that someone's like, yeah, I'm trying to build a website right now. I'm struggling to grow my coaching business. Here's a story of me relating to you. I've got a solution for you. That's all as simple as it needs to be. And I think we were getting leads for like $5 to $10 when they first launched that campaign for a B2C offer, for like DMs for that. That's mainly everything else I got. The only other thing I had on there was another example, but we've had like time to ask a lot of questions. So I want to wrap up and see if you guys do have questions rather than show another example.
So you'll switch up what your free training video is, right? So I'm just kind of using them as an example. You guys had five snatch mistakes and deadlift mistakes. So you would just kind of like alternate those in a sense. And like
we have a dozen.
And then like change the ad accordingly. Like
you
mistakes and take it to like you just have a bunch of different landing pages.
So we'd be, and I don't even know how many lead magnets we have, but I mean I could think of off the top of my head 8. So we probably have double that, and we have them in rotation. We actually, it's so funny, like the first thing that we did performed the best, and we kept testing everything else, and now we just kept doing like muscle gain challenge sold the best, deadlift mistakes and snatch mistakes were the best we've done. We were always testing, but it's funny because
yeah.
like we kind of nailed it. Yeah.
With high ticket, you really just need one really good asset and resource, and then you just start creating different ads. So the ad could be like, hey, are you struggling with this? I got a free training for you. Another one could be like, are you struggling with this? It's a little bit different. It's not directly the same, but this free training still covers how to solve that. So like, let's say like you worked with people who had like IBS. Like, hey, do you have gas and bloating? Here. Hey, do you deal with constipation? Here. So like I can start testing different hooks and different angles, but the training for high ticket typically stays the same unless like you see a big drop off. So like you would probably change your free training in a high ticket space like every 6 to 12 months. With low ticket, you're probably going to want to change it a little more frequently so you can just keep building your email list. Because you're also not getting as big of a return on the front end from low ticket either. So that's why it's like high ticket, it's a little bit faster like growth, but you've got more work. Whereas like, if you can get a bunch of people in recurring revenue with low ticket, it's nice. You're like, oh, cool. Regardless of what we do, we're gonna make 50K this month. We didn't do anything. That's just a nice place to be. Yeah. If I was to do over, I would probably do high ticket first, then I would start the low ticket, and let that thing catch up to where, it'd be so nice if all business expenses could be paid for by low ticket, and then high ticket's just like profit. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'm a fan of starting with high ticket, then going low, but I made most of my money low ticket.
With low ticket, yeah. What are the questions you guys got?
So I've done a bunch of ads where we did free things, and then I've done the ads that we've stuck with, the ones that have worked really well, is when we do a splinter offer. So when it's like $7 or $9, or even like $27. But when we were doing free programs, or get 3 free videos, or get this thing free, we would get more leads, but we'd have 300 leads, and one person would buy something, or one person would. We'd have maybe three people even open the sales page.
Yeah.
So we started doing, so now we do our low cost offer, but we do ads directly to that, and those are successful. We know that we make up enough on the back end.
That's good. If you can dial your copy and your offering down in, that would be preferred versus the free training, because you're getting cash collected for a low ticket offer like that. Yeah. As long as you're making up on the back end. For people,
we make it up on the back end. It takes a few weeks. It takes up to 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah.
We're kind of having some cash flow issues right now because the income from our scaled ads hasn't caught up to the ads we're running. So now I'm
oh shit, what do I do?
I'm gonna go broke, but that's okay. Figure it out. So that's where we're at right now. So ads are really working, but I feel So if you're saying if we have the high value offer, the high ticket offer, so we can use that to kind of offset
your ad cost.
Would you recommend that the other thing? Well, hold on the question. Would you recommend that I try the free training thing just to see if I can get a low CPA, or should I stick with?
I would probably stick with what you're doing, because that's better. If you're getting the cash collected in 6 to 8 weeks, that's positive. I would still want to see, is there a way that I could get a couple high ticket clients on the back end from that, like that would offset that even more.
Right.
You know, so I don't know what the offer stack looks like.
Really lazy in terms of like time spent on like working day-to-day stuff. So like I try to not create any offers where it's like one-on-one stuff with me, or it's like
doesn't have to be one ticket. Okay, so like my former business partners have, I think, a 40,000 and an 85,000.
80.
And the majority of the delivery is from people.
Yeah.
So like most of it's automated training programs, all that, but then they're getting like the highest level blood work and all these tests done. That really costs about $8,000. They might charge 40 grand, and they get that, and then they've got people, doctors that are consulting with them, and everything's farm. Like a lot of it's farm now.
Yeah.
So they're still going to profit probably. But they're not really
and like the outline of like set up the relationships, but they're not actually doing any of it.
Coaching.
Yeah, they're not doing a lot of.
They've got to do the admin of like, all right, this person assigned to here where their team is.
Yeah.
But like,
do a phone call or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd jump on a lot of phone calls for that. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, they're guys putting on low ticket.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and if you look at fulfillment costs, like if you were to hire someone to coach someone one-on-one, even that's going to be 20 to 40% of your cost.
Yeah.
So you're still profiting 60% or so, if not more, on the back end, like after fulfillment is paid for. So like you could hire an assistant coach. Let's say you're charging $500 a month. You could pay an assistant coach $100 a month, which is still pretty good. Like if they were to try to do their own lead gen and stuff like that, they might have a hard time doing that. And then you're still profiting the 400. That could either go back towards ads again for the low ticket, or it could you could pay yourself that.
Yeah, Strongbridge as an example, we were selling $5,000 to $7,000, 12, 16-week programs, and I wasn't going to do that.
No, yeah, you just had the content, you had the curriculum.
The whole
right?
Yeah.
You were the face, right?
Yeah.
How many other faces were there of the brand back when you were me?
Just him.
It was just you. And then you didn't have resistance from people saying like, hey, this is Bill, he's going to take care of you.
Every once in a while, they'd be like, oh, I want to work with Mike. In which case, it was like, yeah, you want to work directly with Mike, 25,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're having it even kind of to the conversation.
Yeah.
In which case, then I'm still not in there.
Yeah, then it was group. It was.
So it really wasn't that much. I think it was every other week.
What's that? Well, the first offer we had was weekly, and then we changed it to every other week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was working like 5 hours a month.
Yeah, like maybe I'll like have a separate conversation with you specifically on me for this, but like what would you try to think if I were to offer like a mid-level offer where it includes maybe like some weekly live stuff, not every week, maybe like every other week, or like 2 deliverables a month, and like some other added bonuses like email access or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of
like
there's so much stuff you could do.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it's just like, I'm a big fan of just asking the audience.
Yeah.
But people have already purchased from you. Like, oh, you want something else? What are your, because you solved a problem for them. What's their next problem? Like, how many of the people are going to spend, 10% of those people, they want to spend 10 times as much money as your initial offer. And like I said, my coaches follow them. I created the curriculum, and they just follow it, and they were trained on how to do the thing.
Oftentimes they went through it. Like all of your coaches went through his content. So like they knew it because they got coaching from him at one point. So it was like an easy transition.
One quick question. Would you respond, would you reply, would you have a monitored inbox for SMS messages that a company like upsell for that $9 offer?
Yeah, I probably would.
Would reply to
Yeah.
To like automated messages?
If it was to ascend to a high ticket offer, then yeah.
Like $180 a year.
$180 a year?
Yeah.
No, probably not. Probably not. I mean, if you wanted to, but your costs, your labor costs are probably going to offset the cost of $180. So you're paying someone $10, $15 an hour. In a week, you've already gone through. Unless you're getting like multiple signups a week for it, but I don't know if the costs would outweigh the the reward for it.
So would SMS work even if you don't have someone monitoring on the back end? Like you can just automate it?
So yeah, it's still a ping, right? It's still a message to them. And as long as you're not asking for a direct response back, because I mean, think about all the e-commerce brands that will hit up. I don't necessarily subscribe to any of those lists, but there's people that get hit up with like ads all the time. Hey, our new shirt just launched. Here it is, and they make a shit ton of money off of those things. But they maybe, I'm sure they probably have an inbox where people send the messages, but nobody checks them.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just another way because we're so fast to like, oh, respond. Okay, click. I just got another person on my website. You know. But if you do add a backend, which I suggest doing, then you might want to consider having someone even just work 10, 20 hours a week, just filtering through those and being like, hey, we got your message. It'd be like an hour, 2 hours a day.